Hello.
I like that head bobbing. Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 152,
Yes. Uh,
and it is also our 3rd-year
yes.
anniversary.
So happy
So
anniversary. I feel like you should have gotten me a present.
I did actually get you a present. It's on its mail
Oh,
in the
that's
mail to you.
sweet. I didn't get you anything.
But I didn't think it through because I got you something. Not for this, but because you've been putting so much hard work into the podcast lately. And it's being shipped on Monday. And so, but you'll be in
Oh well.
Cleveland. So then, Michael, it's really wrapped pretty too. The person wrapped it for me. It's very nice. Because if it came from me, it wouldn't freaking be wrapped.
Well,
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Thank you for my
You are
present.
totally gonna have to. You're welcome. You're totally gonna have to edit the sound on this one. That was very loud.
We can start over if you would like.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'm leaving it in. Sorry.
What are you working on?
Oh, I have to go first. Crap, I just started a row. I am working on two things. I'm working on this shawl. Last week it was I have knit on it more, and so it is larger. That is how it works. This is out of Unwind Yarn Company. And I don't know what the base is called, but I have it right here. Twinkle Sock.
It's her sparkle.
Yes. So
yeah.
It's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, and it's named Stop and Smell the Poppies. And I know that she had some in her most recent update, and it was on Fiverr too. I assume she'll have some in the next one. I'm not certain, but you can just PM her, CraftyGirl83, and she may be able to do special orders. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm knitting on my size 6, 4.0 millimeter needles, and it looks more like a hat right now than anything else.
A very long hat. Maybe if you were like a munchkin in Oz, you could be like totally rocking that.
It's scrunched up on the needles. It's too, like the needles are too, y'all know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of stitches on the needle, so it just kind of hangs, just like circular shawls do. So this will be square when it's done, and then it's going to have an applied, or not an applied, but color work edging. And I've talked to Dana at Unwind and gotten 2 colors requested to go with it. And so this I probably won't take with me. I may not, because the colors on the end won't be here until I get back, so I can only get so far on it anyway. And I only have so much room in my luggage. So
because you're flying, correct? You're flying, correct?
Flying, yeah. So, and I'll talk about that in favorite things later, but I've really enjoyed working with this yarn. It's got a nice depth of color, and it's kind of doing like tiger stripes, which I dig a lot. So more to come on this one. It doesn't have a name yet because Dana let me name the colorway. I'm going to let Dana name the finished object. I figure that's fair.
Cool. That's
but she
very
can't really
fair.
name it until it's done.
That is also true.
The second thing that I am working on, and I'm going to slip these stitches onto this needle here so that I can actually show you. And I hadn't worked on this since last week until yesterday when I talked to Amy Beth, and I said, hey, how far are you on the water course? And she was like, oh, I bound off the front edges and I'm working on the back up to the hood. And I was like, what? Don't you have like 4 sweaters on the needles? Yes, she does. And she's still further along than me. So I spent some time this morning.
Obviously, it's a competition.
Everything is a competition. And while I wouldn't mind losing to Amy Beth, I felt like such a slacker because I started this a week before she did. So I spent some time this morning and last night on chat with some friends getting the front panels done. So now the front panels.
Look at you go.
Armholes. And I grafted them together with Kitchener. So they're 2 separate pieces, and then you Kitchener them together. You could do a 3-needle bind-off if you wanted the stability, but it's a real drapey open cardigan, so it's not like stability is going to help me a lot. And then I have started the short row shaping for the back of the hood. And I love that this hood has short row shaping instead of just knitting it flat, folding it in half, and then binding it off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm glad that it has short row shaping because I was thinking about...
I think I'm gonna have to get this pattern. I'm gonna have to make this pattern
I
at some
really like
point,
it. I like
I
it quite a
think.
lot. So, and I tried it on um, just before we sat down to record, and it's hitting me right where I want it to, just a smidge high, like half an inch high, but it'll block that half an inch, no doubt.
That superwash will grow
Yeah.
out here.
So, I'm happy with it. It's going really well. I have got both of my skeins that I have left. I've already got them wound. A little wonky, but that's okay. Um,
You only have 2 skeins left?
yeah.
Wow.
But,
You've come really
so
far. Like, obviously, when you picked it up, I could tell you look so
I looked,
concerned.
yeah, I was worried. Like, is that not enough? I've got a hood and 2 half sleeves. I hope this is enough. I think it will be.
If you get the hood out of one, then you'll have one for the sleeve, so that's 100 yards per sleeve.
Hmm. Well, if not, I'll just buy another one and alternate.
I have 7 skeins of that colorway. I think I could give
I have
you
another
one.
friend who has quite a number of skeins of this as well, so I think I'll be okay. I really think 2 skeins, because the sleeves are only half sleeves. So I'll finish the hood,
Yeah, they're
and then I'll
short
split it in
sleeves.
half and just work down. So
And you're alternating them as you go,
kind of.
correct?
So I'm doing the cheater's
Hmm.
way. Like, I'm using one skein until I've got a little bit left, maybe 50 yards, and then I'll start alternating close to the end of the ball. I'll start alternating them in, which is not the way you're supposed to do it, but it's the way that I felt like doing it. So, sorry, I got like a feather flying around. So that's what I'm working on. That's it.
Fun.
What about you?
I picked up an old work in progress, which is my Quaker Ridge Shawlette by Susan B. Anderson. I started it, you guys can't, I have like 4 or 5 more stitches to go. I started it back in September when the pattern was released and she did the knit along and I had spun for it. I don't want to even say I started in September. I think I spun for it and then kind of started in October. And it kind of has been sitting around and I look at it and it's in one of my favorite bags and I'm like, I should really get working on that. And there's no reason why I haven't worked on
Yeah,
it.
sometimes they just sit.
So I've gotten 2 repeats, 2 of the 16 row repeats done in the past day and a half. And it's getting quite
Wow.
large.
You really
It
made
looks
progress
like this.
on that.
Yep, I have around 5 more rows, I want to say, and then I'm going to increase and do the ruffle. And I bought my beads today. I went to Joann Fabrics and got 2 tubes of the bronze mix.
Oh,
So
cool.
they're the light's kind of reflecting crazy, I don't know, but they're all different bronzes with like clear with a bronze middle, bronze matte, just pure bronze with sparkles. So I think that'll look well
I agree.
against
I think
that.
it's a nice accent.
And so I'll try to get through the ruffle's only 16 rows. And the real reason why I'm knitting on this is I want the needles. They're my size 8s. And I'm about to start a new sweater and I need size 8s. And it's not like I don't have 2 interchangeable sets sitting, 3 interchangeable sets sitting around. So 2 usable interchangeable sets. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so what I swatched for on my size 8s is the antler sweater. It's one of the Tin Can Knit patterns. When they did their free pattern giveaway in December, it was the one that I chose. So, and I'm knitting it out of Mad Tosh Vintage in Rainwater. This is my first time using vintage.
I love that color.
In a sweater pattern. I used it for my Mara shawl a couple years ago. But it's grays with pops of light blue throughout it. It was so funny. I put a picture of the swatch on Instagram, and you can find me on Instagram as well on it. And someone was like, "Shocker, Laura's knitting with gray." It was Amy Knitfomaniac, and it was very funny, and I laughed immensely. But it's got a lot of depth to it, so it'll be a nice addition to my gray wardrobe, my gray and black wardrobe that sometimes has pops of navy. So that's going on the needles as soon as I get this off. And you actually start with the sleeves on that. And it's got cables. It's a cable, basically it's sleeve, body, up to the armpits, and then it's got a cable yoke. And it actually calls for the Mad Tosh vintage. I'm actually using the yarn something calls for. So, and I swatched, and I'm a smidge off. I'm getting like 19 stitches equals 4 inches rather than 18 stitches equals 4 inches. So I'm either going to have to think loose thoughts, because I like the drape of this. I'm not going to go up. Or go up a size. I think I'm going to go up a size.
Think loose thoughts. That is, I'm just going to walk right past that one.
I set you up so well. And then the last thing that I started on the plane on my way home from Philly is we had gone to Loop, correct, in Philly?
Loop.
And it's so funny, I never remember its name. I've been there like 10 times. But Craig, the owner, is really nice. But they carry Black Bunny fibers. And I got some yarn. And this is not doing it justice at all, because it is gorgeous in real life. Yeah, it's very sparkly. I'm very happy. And it's a lot darker. There's a lot more depth to the color in real life. But it's really, really pretty. And I also got a pair of needles. I got the new Addie Turbo Sock Rockets to try out. So Addie's putting these out. And they come in sock sizes. And they only come in the needle length of 40 inches, which is very long for me. But basically what these are the Addie Turbo laces. So they've got that sharper point, but with the slick silver nickel plated coating. So instead of the bronze, whatever it is, brass, that the lace tips have, this has those same sharp tips, but with the nickel plated. They're not as sharp as my signatures. So these are size 1s. These are both size 1s. And they're both 5-inch needle length. And you can kind of see the stilettos still are a bit
pointier,
sharper, but they're very close. And I like the cord on them a lot. So we're giving it a try. So that is what I am working on, all 3 items.
You have a finished object, correct?
I do. I finished it at night the other night. So I finished the hat that I was working on. And it's just a plain beanie style hat that has a little bit of moss stitch right there. And the yarn is, the pattern's just out of my head. I just played. And I knit it on size 8 needles, because that's what I took with me to Leslie's house. And the yarn is some hand spun that Mel Ski Knits of Single Handed Knits spun for me for my birthday.
It's beautiful.
So, thank you. It's nice and slouchy. And now it's like 80 degrees outside. So it's gorgeous outside. It's absolutely stunning. So I'm really excited about that.
It's very misrepresented, I guess, here. I don't know, that's not the right word, but I can't think of the word. It looks beautiful outside, but it's still quite chilly, which is sad because I found this dog beach that's close to us. It's like 20 minutes away, where you can actually let them off the leashes. And I know that my dog will go crazy and love that, but it's still too cold to take him, because he'll get in the water and he'll get wet, and it's still on the beaches. It's still in the low 40s. So anyhow, I do have a finished object now, since it is a knitting podcast. And this is actually a weaving finished object. I had started this last week on the Cricut loom that I got at Pearl Soho in New York City. And experienced weavers will be able to tell right away that I did something wrong. So this is out of hand spun, and the warp was this lace weight silk, and the weft was hand spun, and it was a little bit heavier. It was like about a fingering, kind of bordered on sport in some places. And I looked through this book that a lovely friend sent me and realized that this could actually be considered a technique that you aim for, called warp facing. But basically, it means that I used a thinner yarn on the warp than I did on the weft, so you can't even see the warp yarn. It's completely hidden in there, which wasn't
Mhm.
intentional. It's just the way it's just because it was my first project. I had no experience.
You were
I
playing with what you
yeah,
had in
I
your
just did it,
house.
which is fine. It's ended up quite short because again, I didn't this is
It could be a table
as
runner.
long as it is. So I'll do something
That's a
with it.
good
I've got
table
to
runner
finish it. I've got
size.
to do hem
Yeah.
stitching and finish it because this is like my waist at the end. I just was so excited to cut it off the loom and to finish it. So I like it. I'm very happy with it. It's just you can't see the warp threads because I didn't do it right, but that's okay. I'll just pretend like I was trying to do a weft facing thing and consider it a success. So
There you go. And it'll even itself out when you wash it a little bit too, I bet
yeah,
you.
and I haven't washed it yet. I haven't done any finishing to it. I've just cut it off the loom a couple days ago, and then started my mad rush to try to catch up to Amy Beth, who will be finished by the
Yeah, I
time
was
that
gonna say.
she posts her episode, I'm sure. Um, that's it for me. I don't have any spinning.
I don't have any spinning as well. I did spin this week. I put together a 22,000 volume library this
Mhm.
week, and so I bruised up my knuckles pretty fierce on cardboard boxes and cut them up a little bit, but say lovey, and I did not feel like knitting because my fingers were messed up from all that shelving. So I was spinning at night, and I spun on the mini spinner because you don't have to treadle the mini
Mhm.
spinner. And my body was like, "Oh, remember how we don't exercise? We totally don't exercise. Why are you exercising?" But I'll have to post. I'll try to post pictures when there's no kids in my library next week sometime on Instagram because it's getting there. It's really, really getting there when it's all pulled together. I'll show you all the new furniture and stuff. It looks very, very cool. I'm very happy with it.
That's awesome.
But it's not quite there yet. I still have the old metal shelving that has to come
Mhm.
down and some other stuff. But it's totally getting there. So anyway, I just spun a little bit, and it's not even enough to really show y'all. It's like less than a quarter of a bobbin of some Hello Yarn on merino in the overfront colorway. So I will bring that up here next week and show y'all that. But it's really not a whole lot to see. That was a lot of talking about it for nothing to see. But we do have a book review this
Yes,
week,
a book that we have both been
and I'm
anxiously awaiting.
super excited. Yes. So this is the Knit to Flatter
By Amy
by Amy
Herzog.
Herzog, and it is put out by Stuart Tabori and Chang, the STC Publishing, which is Melanie Fallick
Mhm.
Company, or it used to be. I don't know if it still is. Um, it retails for $24.95 in the United States, and of course you can get it cheaper at various other retailers. The cool thing about this book is it's a companion book that goes along with her craftsy class. And I was listening to an interview with her, and she said the cool thing if you do both is, well, this is really neat, and you can really read and utilize this by itself. The craftsy class, actually, you can see how the garments are draping in real life on the models. And so they really work well
So
together.
to interject there, for anybody that doesn't know about Craftsy, it's a great website where you can pay to take a class digitally online, and when you pay for it, and there's always coupon codes and sales and all that, and you pay one fee. Generally, it's between $10 and $30, somewhere in that range, depending on the class, and you get access to it forever. And you can ask questions of the teachers, and it's really a great way to expand your skills. And so Amy Herzog has a new one on there. I think it launched a month or maybe 2 months ago.
And it's called Knit to
Yeah.
Flatter.
And I haven't taken it. I have purchased it, but I haven't watched it, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things. So
And I've taken around half of it. And I skip around. The cool thing is with Craftsy, you can skip around too. So I watched like the first 4 or 5 sessions, and then I wanted to do bust arts, so I skipped right to that. But back to the book. It is very cool, and she uses various size models.
Yeah, and it's divided. The first chapter talks about how measurements relate to shape and how you have to figure out your own shape before you can really determine what is going to look good on you. And while she has
Mm-hmm.
opinions that say typically bottom heavy people look better in this type of sleeve or this type of neck, she also says do what makes you happy, do what looks good for you. And at every pattern, she gives you little tips and tricks of how to do that. I love this book so much.
It's a great book. It also has a worksheet that you jot down your measurements, and she talks about how to measure. I'm not going to show y'all all that kind of stuff because that's really what you get when you buy
And
the
it's
book.
worth the money. It is
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
worth it.
every little bit. And then chapter 2 goes into top-heavy shapes. Do you have some favorite sweaters from top-heavy shapes?
Are you trying to say that I'm top heavy?
I don't know. Have you done the
No,
analysis?
no, I have not, because I'm actually going to Fiber Space in Washington and taking her class in 3 weeks. So I'm going to wait and do it then. Anyway,
Okay, I think that's a good
this is the
thing.
Cypress cardigan, and I like this, and I like it, again, part of it is because she uses models of various sizes. I have no beef against very thin people, but it's nice to occasionally see someone who is not. Um,
She also, for every type, has this little chart that tells you some flattering features for top heavy sweaters. So styles, neckline, sleeves, and in the craftsy class, she actually shows you how a sweater looks on her when it's just buttoned in the middle, the sleeves are pushed up, and her pants are rolled down long, versus if she rolls up her pants, pulls down the sweater sleeves, and buttons it all the way up. And it's amazing what a difference such a little thing can
and
make.
how just visual clues can lengthen or shorten your body. And she's all about showing you how to do that. And just as an example, the same cardigan that I was talking about down here on the page with the photo, she tells you this was knit on this size. The model has this size bust. We added this many bust darts and this much waist shaping to make it flatter her specific
Mm-hmm.
figure. And it's nice because it tells me that even the model, even this person who's getting paid to be in this picture isn't perfect and they had to make adjustments. That's nice. It's nice to see that. Anyway, sorry. Off my soapbox.
And she talks in the craftsy class a lot about working with the body that you have
Mhm.
and being happy with how you look, which is very cool. Next section is bottom heavy, and you can see there's 3 models there, all different sizes. And in the bottom heavy, I really, really love this sweater.
I like that as well. I like the deep neck. I would probably do it without the tie, but I do like the deep neck.
I love the little Fair Isle detail there. The other cool thing is on the second page, so she tells you there's little arrows that tell you all the details. Like those stripes draw the eye upward from the hem to the waist. But I'm not a bottom heavy girl, and even though I love this sweater, it might not be the most flattering thing for me. So in every sweater, there's a section that has modification ideas. And it tells you how you can modify that sweater if you're a top heavy girl, if you're um, pretty much the same overall.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that's
Proportional.
called now. Proportional, thank you. And what you do to change it up. I also like the flutter pullover. I think that's super cute.
I like the detail on the sleeves. So in the proportional chapter, which is the next one, which if I had to roughly guess, that would be my assumption for what I am. Not because my proportions are what they should be, but because my proportions on top are about the same as they are on the bottom. My butt's about as big as my chest is what I'm trying to say. And I am so in love with this sweater, this Holloway pullover. I love this so much.
That's gonna be my next
And
sweater that I do.
it's
Well, at some point this year I'm
got
doing
some
it.
detail that I especially love. It's this collar that's got the button detail, but you can open the buttons and have it kind of lay out to sort of lengthen the look of the top of your chest. I love this so much. So much. Definitely knitting that this year.
I also like the Queen Cable Cardigan by Eleanor Brown. I think that is very cute.
Yes, and there's.
I would do the sleeves a little bit shorter.
And then she's got the final chapter that's called Other Figure Features. So basically, it's in this chapter she talks about if there's a specific part of your body you really want to accent, you should read this chapter because it'll tell you how to do that. Or if there's a specific part of your body you really would like to hide or camouflage, she talks about how to do that in this chapter.
And she's got even more patterns there, like the Dorica hoodie, which I love the details on that. It doesn't hurt that it's purple either.
This is my second favorite pattern in this book, and part of it's because the model is so beautiful, but also the cardigan. This is called the Delish cardigan, and it's kind of a mesh open work, except on the like button band area and cuff area. I love this cardigan. It's a beautiful color. It's got a nice drape. If you are concerned about, fat rolls showing or whatever, it's got a nice kind of flat drape that'll hide that or help hide it. I love that pattern. It's so pretty.
I also like that she goes into neck depth and shaping and some other detail-oriented things. I did also want to mention most of the cardigans in here, or sweaters in general, are knit out of fingering, DK, or worsted weight yarn.
Yeah.
So there's a good variety of different yarn weights, but nothing in super bulky. So if you like super bulky and bulky sweaters, this is probably not going to have a whole lot for you.
Probably the last thing I would want to talk about is, so we've all, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have heard about bust darts and short row shaping for certain areas. Like some patterns have it at the top of the shoulder for shaping of the shoulder, or for shaping of the bust dart, just depending on the size of your bust. But she also has a little section about other areas for short rows. And I'm not going to show you the diagram or any of the text, but basically, if you wanted to add short rows in to accommodate a larger stomach or a larger behind or a broader shoulders or what have you, she talks about how to do that. You could knit a million sweaters from this one book. Can you tell that we were not sent this to review. We both paid for this book.
We both paid money to buy this.
I had a wonderful friend who sent this to me, but still.
I paid money.
Cost money. We didn't get them for free. We love this book. Go buy this book. Go take her crafty class.
It's probably one of my favorite books that I've seen in the last couple of years. And it's also the time period of what we're working on.
It is.
Like, we're both very into sweaters right now.
It's also the empowerment of, you don't like a pattern, change it. It's fine. You don't have to love everything about a pattern. If you absolutely adore a specific pattern that's published in a magazine, but you know that the neckline will just be horrid on you, pick up this book. It'll tell you how to change it. I love that. I love the empowerment of it. So anyhow, I've been very soapboxy today, but it's gone along with the whole accepting body positive and all that, and this is a wonderful book for that.
So this is Knit to Flatter. It is by Amy Herzog. It retails for $24.95, and you can also get her class on Craftsy that goes with it in case she's not coming, if you're not as lucky as Leslie and she's not coming within a 4-hour drive of you to go take her class.
Yes, I'm very lucky. Fiberspace in D.C. is going to be hosting her for 3 different classes, and I'm taking sort of the lowest level entry one, and that's primarily because too much math makes me really frustrated, and that's such a Barbie thing to say, but it's completely true. Too much math really frustrates me, and I know that I wouldn't enjoy the more intensive, let's design your perfect sweater from scratch based on gauge, and like that's not my class. I know what my limits are, and that's one of them. So anyway, favorite things. What have you got?
Favorite things? Oh my goodness, I got some gorgeous yarn this week. So I am in the Barking Dog Yarns Club, and I got the shipment, and it is called Rye. It's named after ryegrass. It is a very light green-yellow combination that is just perfect. And really why it's perfect is it is spring, and that makes me very happy. But also, I have a bunch of friends having babies, and they're pretty early on, so they don't know what it is yet. So this would be super cute to do a sweater out of, and then when they do find out, do a hat with like this as a accent stripe. So I'm definitely, this will be used pretty quickly because I want to get some stuff to some people pretty early on. So that is the first thing that I got. That's the only yarn thing that I got. I had to think for a second. So Barking Dog Yarns. And you can find, this is part of her sock club, but you can find all her yarn, which is gorgeous. And she does the Opposites Attract at barkingdogyarns.com. So that was my first club shipment. And then my second club shipment was, I got my final shipment of the Huckleberry Knits Fiber Club.
And you've really liked this club, haven't you?
I have. I'll do it for like 3 months and then take a couple month break so I can spin some of the stuff up. But Scarlett does some really cool stuff. And she always gives you a little sample in with it. So she gave a sample of her merino yak silk in the dragonfly colorway in this one, which is really pretty. And then what's in here is Falkland, which is one of my favorite bases because it's kind of like a mutt breed of sheep. And it is in the Seek No Further colorway, which is pretty greens and purples.
Yeah, very pretty.
And at least one of her shipments is always greens and purples, which really works for me.
It's not a bad thing.
So I'm going to spin that up pretty soon because for our 3rd anniversary, we are going to do something a little bit different this year.
Do we want to talk about why?
Sure.
Because we're very busy and we kind of forgot that our anniversary was coming up. It's not that we don't enjoy the process, but just the past month we've had some tech issues and it just kind of detracted us from remembering that, hey, we've been doing this 3 years now. It's a long time.
152 episodes, which means we've only missed a couple in 3 years.
So that's pretty good. We think it's pretty good. And we have a lot of folks who still watch us, so that's good enough for me. So yes, this year, instead of doing one big mammoth giveaway, we thought we would kind of spread it out a little bit. So we're going to do...
So for the next 3 months, we're going to do a prize a week. We're going to make sure we have a prize every week for 3 months.
And
so
we like that. We feel like it, gives everybody plenty of chances to earn a prize. And that way you can kind of pick and choose what prizes you may want. So if you're not a spinner, then you wouldn't enter on a week with fiber because it's not going to do you any good, right? So we feel like this is a better way to do it.
And it's fun because we'll get to shop for y'all, maybe at like Maryland Sheep and Wool and places we go. So that'll be lots of fun. Hey, Neelix.
Parents for the day. Yes, so we're excited about that. And Laura's going to spin up some fiber as one of the gifts. And I'll probably spin up some fiber as well. If I can get my sewing machine fixed, I'll sew up a couple of things. But right now it's broken because of reasons. But yeah.
So in order to enter for this one, I will start a thread in the Knit Girls group on Ravelry, and it's just going to be, what is your favorite Knit Girls moment? Because I always like those. Those are always some of my favorites. Because I like hearing what you guys like.
To go back and read them. Like some things we forget even happened, or I do anyway. Maybe block it out is a better way to say that. Neelix, please go somewhere else. Go.
But we do have a giveaway for this week, and what it is the knotted bag, which I'm using mine to store my socks in, which is a very cool style bag. You just put that through there. And this is her knitting crochet bag, which has a liner fabric, a cotton, like a quilting cotton liner. And then the spinning one has a satin, so it's nice and smooth for your spinning. And she is giving away a custom bag, either spinning or the knitting, to the winner. So we had, let me look. I was looking at patterns on Ravelry earlier.
There's a shocker.
No cookie for me. We had 154 entries, and I just have to say I really, really enjoyed reading this thread. This every morning when I saw a couple more posts in it, it just really made my day.
We'll have to do that again.
The random acts of kindness are very, very cool. And thank you all who participated in that. That was wonderful.
So between number 2 and 154, I have not generated it yet, and I will push generate. And it says number 107.
Okay. Oop, that's on page 5, not 4. 107 is Photo Knit Gal. She found 2 autographed copies of Stephanie Pearl McPhee's Free Range Knitter. She bought one for her and one for a knitting friend who is one of the Yarn Harlot's biggest fans.
Oh, that's sweet.
So very, very cool. So Photo Knit Gal, if you will get in touch with me, and I will put you in touch with the knotted bag.
Yes.
That will be awesome.
So.
And that's really all we got for this week. There's not a whole lot more to talk about. Oh, SSK
yes.
stuff.
So if you are not attending SSK and not interested in hearing about it, we totally understand. Won't hold it against you. And we'll see you next week. But if you are going to SSK, last year we did a movie night with the Labyrinth. And while that was fun, it also kind of excluded some people who weren't really interested or didn't want to sit through a movie or whatever. And that's totally fine and a respectable choice. So this year we're doing something different. We haven't decided if we're doing it for 1 night or 2 nights yet, but what we're going to do is a tasting room, which Laura has decided is going to be called Who's It's and What's It's Galore. And then you get the reference. And basically what we're going to do in this room is we're going to give you a chance to try out tons of stuff. So we're going to have tons of different kinds of spinning wheels. We're going to have different weaving looms. We're going to have different knitting needles, different yarns, different fibers.
Different fiber prep things.
Like cards and combs and flick stuff and just all kinds of stuff that you guys want to try. We're going to have set up in a room so that you can go in and play and see if you like it or if it's worth investing in. Because a lot of the problems that people have when it comes to wanting to invest in a piece of equipment is they haven't figured out exactly what they want yet, because it's hard to go somewhere and have the chance to try out so many things. So we're hoping to do that for you guys. And I think maybe we'll open a thread on the SSK board with stuff that you'd like to see in that room, in the tasting room.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be able to accommodate
or
everything,
if you have stuff that you want to bring, yeah.
But we are going to try to accommodate as many as we can. And if you want to participate in using any of the carding equipment, you have to sign a waiver that says you're not going to sue us if you poke yourself. Sorry. It seems silly, but legally it's something that needs to be done. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm stoked about it because there's so many things that are going to be in this room that I've never tried before. But we'll have, like, even if you're not interested in big purchases like spinning wheels or a loom or any of that, we're going to have different knitting needles. If you've never knit with signatures, if you want to try, the different interchangeables or what have you, we're going to have tons of stuff. And I also invite our vendors who are going to be vending at the event on Saturday, if they would like to provide any of the yarn for tasting or fiber for tasting, little, miniature samples, and people can try your yarn and they might want to purchase some of it the next day. Just saying. But we're super excited about it. We've been kind of tossing the idea around for a little while and building up our equipment stock for that.
We have.
Which brings me to, for that, we're excited. We'll open a thread in the SSK group, and you can give us recommendations on things you'd like to see or try, or if you think it's a totally silly idea. I think it's an awesome idea, but I've had ideas that didn't turn out awesome before. So one of the things that we purchased that will be in this room, the tasting room, is a circular sock machine. Now, to my knowledge, they don't make them anymore. There is some new brand that's made in Australia or New Zealand that I've never tried, but I purchased one, and it's a Laguerre 400, and it was made in the early 1900s, and it's cast iron and really heavy. and it has a very steep learning curve, in my opinion. Like, I was able to pick up knitting pretty easily, and spinning was a little harder, but it wasn't bad. Weaving wasn't bad. I've had this machine since December, and I've yet to get one complete sock off of it.
Well, you've gotten socks with afterthought heels
I've
and
gotten tubes.
toes.
There's a difference. So if I was making
Okay.
tube socks, I'd be totally in business. So an example is this. I got some yarn. This is from Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something. I don't even remember the brand. But I make a folded hem with it, and then go down, and then if you're just doing a straight, no, like you can do a wrap and turn heel on them, theoretically. I've never made it work, but, whatever. But yeah, what I've been doing is just putting in true afterthought heels, snipping the yarn, picking up stitches, and then adding afterthought heels. I've only done it for a couple of pair, and I haven't even shown them to you guys because I really wanted to get proficient with this thing. I just don't think it's going to happen. Maybe. I haven't given up, but it is the sharpest learning curve of any craft-related thing I've ever dealt with. So, anyhow.
That's one of the cool things that you get to play with.
So
and show Leslie up with your awesome abilities.
But yeah, it's going to be one of the things that'll be there where we know we'll have looms. We know we'll have wheels.
We'll have the mini spinner and all the wheels that we have.
If you have a unique piece of equipment and you're going to SSK and you would like to demonstrate it, just post it in the thread that we'll talk about, and we'll figure something out. If there's enough demand, we may do it both Thursday and Friday night, but we haven't decided. At this point, it's only going to be one night. It'll be based on the response you guys give us in that thread and tell us how interested you are. And I will not be offended if you're not interested. So I'll just play with all the things myself. So this is going to go up a day early, and I'm going to be in Cleveland, Ohio until next Saturday, and I'm actually working swing shifts, so I've had a couple people message me about meeting up, and while I would absolutely love to do that, I'm going to be working from 4 p.m. until midnight every single day, so I'm not going to have a ton of time. So I'm sorry. And then I'll be back on Sunday, but we're not going to record that night because I'm not going to get back till late. So we'll record the following Monday.
Is that the 15th? Yeah.
And then Laura goes out of town
Friday the 19th.
And comes back
Monday the 22nd late at night. So we'll record like the 23rd.
Yeah. So we're recording on Saturday, then on Monday, then on Tuesday. So we're just off this month.
But then the following week, the 28th, will be normal. And then the week after that's Maryland Sheep and Wool.
We will be at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I need to order buttons badly so that we will have buttons. And then Laura and I will be attending TNNA in June, then SSK in July, and then Rhinebeck in October.
And I'll be at the Vicksburg, the Magnolia Yarn Festival in Vicksburg, Mississippi. I think it's the first week of June. Okay. So I'll be there.
Remember?
You won't be there, but I'll be there.
I'm sorry.
It's like May 31st and June 1st.
Oh, okay. So it's right at the end. But yeah, I haven't decided what I'm taking with me to Cleveland to knit yet. I'm going to be away from my stash for a whole week. But I'll figure something out. So
you should take a hitchhiker. Start a hitchhiker.
I think twice.
Okay. Start one of her other patterns. I like her patterns.
I'll probably take a skein of sock yarn because I won't finish a pair of socks in the time that I'm there. Like, I have all these dreams, like I'll finish, a lace shawl or something. It's never going to happen. I will go with everything I came with, or I'll come back with everything I went with.
There's probably yarn shops in Cleveland,
but
too.
I have to work, and I don't have a car while I'm there, so. Anyhow, we're rambling. This is more like our regular Skype conversation versus our recording. So you guys have a wonderful week. I may be less active on the boards because I'm going to be working and I'll be off-site. But we have excellent mods, including Laura and Beck.
I was going to say, what am I, shop deliver?
We also learned that you cannot time out another mod on Ravelry, just interesting FYI.
I don't know why you would do that in a t-shirt sweater debate. That doesn't seem fair.
Anyhow, you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you again next time. And make sure that you enter for the prize on the thread. And if you're going
It's
to
fun.
FSK, make sure that you tell us whether you're interested or not interested in the tasting room. So that's it.
Who's it's and what's it's galore.
Who's it's and what's it's? I'm going to have that song in my head now. Okay. Y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, y'all.